right, it's 2 o'clock. I'd like to ask you all to join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Lisa, would you please read the opening statement and call the roll?
This is to advise the general public and to instruct that it be recorded in the minutes that in compliance with the Senator Byron M. Baer Open Public Meetings Act, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority set its annual meeting schedule for August 2018 through July 2019, setting forth the time, date, and location of this meeting to the Secretary of State's office in Trenton, New Jersey, and the office of the Clerk of Atlantic City. The notice was published in the Press of Atlantic City, the Camden Courier Post, and the North Star Ledger on July 23, 2018, and July 24, 2018. Members of the press will be permitted to take photographs at today's meeting, providing that it is done in a manner which is not distracting to the authority, nor interferes with the public's right to observe the meeting. Any member of the public who wishes to address the authority regarding items to be presented to the board today will be given the opportunity to do so. Comments regarding any issues that do not appear on today's agenda will be taken during the public comment portion at the end of the meeting. We ask that members of the public who address the board stand and state their name and address for the record each time they speak on an issue. It is also requested that comments be limited to 3 minutes per issue. Deborah DiLorenzo.
Present.
Ed Gant.
Here.
Mark Antonio.
Here.
Mayor Frank Gilliam.
Here.
Michael Hanlon.
Here.
Gary Hill.
Maureen Hassett has joined the conference.
Howard Kyle.
Here.
William Mullen.
Here.
Kevin Ortzman. James Plessis.
Here.
Dave Rebuck for the State Attorney General.
Here.
Maureen Hassett for the State Treasurer.
Here.
Robert Long for the DCA Commissioner.
Good afternoon.
Frank Spencer.
Here.
Richard Tolson.
Here.
Chairman Robert Mulcahy.
Here. Thank you, Lisa. The next item on the agenda is ratification of the minutes of the July 17, 2018 and August 7, 2018 board meetings. They've been in your packet. Are there any corrections or changes that anyone wishes to make? Hearing none, I'll accept a motion to ratify the minutes and place them on file.
Make the motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. Next item on the agenda is you also have in your packet the treasurer's report. I would ask that we have a motion to place it on file.
Move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, I would ask our Executive Director, Matt Doherty, for his report of things that he wishes to bring to the attention of the board and the public.
If it pleases the chairman, I'll suspend my report. The one thing I do want to mention to the public, if they're available, Stockton University is going to be having their ribbon cutting this Thursday. Students are already there. Hopefully anyone got a chance to take a look at the building, but it's really remarkable and it's quite an amazing addition to the city here in Atlantic City. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pretty nice to have a room overlooking the ocean, huh?
Not
That's a
bad.
dorm room.
Not better than my dorm.
What time is that ribbon cut?
Noon.
11.
It's 11 noon. 11.
Anything else, Matt?
No, sir.
Before I go to proposed actions, I know that we have distinguished visitor, Councilman Fauntleroy's here. If you would identify yourselves, just so we appreciate you coming, and thank you. We have several proposed actions on the agenda for today. The first one is the Jim Whalen Historic Boardwalk Hall Grant, MA2, I guess, lighting consoles. We need approval of Spectrum Management's award of a contract to Girls in an amount not to exceed $91,050 for procurement of 2 lighting boards to replace existing outdated equipment. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving Spectra Venue Management's award of a contract to Earls Girls, Inc. to purchase and install lighting console equipment at Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall.
Anybody need to recuse? Matt, you want a description of the...
This is pretty straightforward. The old equipment is outdated. Spectra went out and secured new equipment, went out to bid. It was back in July, and Earl's Girls came in from Egg Harbor City. And you'll see them on the next couple ones as well.
Also, I guess the equipment is like 20 years old, and when you're trying to run a modern facility, it's pretty hard to do it. Board discussion.
Just make note that they are from Atlantic County, and that's always a benefit to the whole region.
Any other comments from commissioners? Public comment? Seeing none?
Motion.
Been moved by Mr. Gann. Is there a second? Any further discussion by any commissioner? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is also for Wayland Historic Boardwalk Hall, Yamaha CL5 digital mixing consoles. We need approval to an amount not to exceed $61,825 for the procurement of 2 audio mixing boards to replace existing outdated equipment. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving Spectra Venue Management's award of a contract to Philadelphia Sound Productions Incorporated to purchase and install audio mixing consoles at Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall.
Anybody need to be recused? Matt?
Again, this is replacing what was existing, contracts for replacement of 2 existing audio mixing boards, which themselves, again, are 20 years old, and this is funded through the luxury tax proceeds. And Philadelphia Sound is from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, home of the Super Bowl champions.
We had to get a little promo in
They're not from
there.
Atlantic County, I'm sorry.
Well, we typically don't point it out when they're not. We just acknowledge when they are. But you're lucky.
Board discussion. Public comment.
Question.
Yes, sir.
On all these lucrative contracts, is there any way possible that some type of training could be put into that for people of the community? So not only Atlantic County benefits, but Atlantic City benefits? Just a thought. Obviously, it can't be done now.
I understand. These are, the procurement of these items, they're sort of specialized items.
I understand, but you can write it up like you want to write it up. I understand what you're saying. I'm just putting a thought out.
Sure, but this is, again, for procurement of items. So we,
equipment.
by law, we have to
Right.
go with the lowest bidder. So if lowest bidders...
I understand how it works, but I was going a step ahead in terms of once you get a contract for then somebody has to put it in, and somebody has to, but you're not just getting a contract to buy the stuff to store it.
All right, so
getting
you're
it to put it
talking
in.
about a different thing. I think we misunderstood. You're talking about when these things go in, if there's an opportunity to train people? Is
To
that what
train
you're saying?
people on both ends. You can put your bid out any way you want, but it comes along with, you get $200,000, it comes along with some type of training of people in Atlantic City.
Richard, you got any comments on that?
These things have gone on, and I'll be as brief as possible. Over 20 years ago, I sat as the chairman of the Casino Control Commission's Affirmative Action Board for the construction industry. Truthfully, that was the whole title, in Atlantic City. That did exactly what the gentleman was referencing. The building trades, I know for a fact, in Atlantic City, has offered apprenticeship opportunities in these specific instances that you're referencing here. It's equipment that will be installed through, and I know you understand that,
Right.
but we have to be clear, and it's $61,000. These lucrative contracts that you referenced,
No, I
it's
saw
$61,000.
I saw 200.
That's the next one.
Yeah, well, if you had
The
them all
third
three
one, what
together.
we haven't gotten to yet, right?
Okay, I got you.
The opportunities exist and always have.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, let me just add that real quickly. I do know that from the Workforce Development Board in the county and through the Atlantic County Economic Alliance, the points you were raising are those good ones, are valid ones. There is a need for apprenticeship programs, training programs, internships. They're being aggressively looked at. You're raising an important issue that the workforce in Atlantic County, Atlantic City, needs some training, needs some improvement. Something has to be done differently, and it's being addressed through that channel. We can talk more about that offline if you'd like.
Thank you, sir.
Further board discussion? Any further public comment? Motion to adopt.
Motion. Second.
Been moved and seconded, and hearing or seeing no further Comments, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is the Jim Whalen Historic Boardwalk Hall Lyceum Follow Spotlights. Approval of Spectrum Venue Management's award of a contract to Earl's Girls Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $213,225 for procurement of 12 spotlights to replace existing obsolete spotlights. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving Spectra Venue Management's award of a contract to Earl's Girls Incorporated to purchase and install 12 Lyceum Follow spotlights at Jim Whalen Boardwalk Hall.
Any recusals? Matt?
Like the other two, this is replacing equipment that's over 20 years old, it's failing and not reliable, and it's funded through the luxury tax bonds. And the provider is an Atlantic County-based provider.
Board discussion. Public comment.
Are
Yes,
these
sir.
spotlights for the roof? Where are they going?
Follow spots are inside the building.
These are the inside spots.
I believe.
Thank you. Theatrical spotlights. There's a child on the roof of Boardwalk Hall with a constant spotlight in the sky, a couple of them, and it made everyone want to visit Atlantic City.
Okay. Airport. Huh?
Airport. It's a conflict, I believe.
Conflict with the airport?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We had the airport then. Matter of fact, we had Baker Field open then.
All right. Other public comment?
Yeah, I'm making a comment.
Yes, Mr. Cheatham.
You know, all this money you're spending for Boardwalk Hall is long overdue. So, I mean, I don't know about this, anybody else here, but I know how Boardwalk Hall is. I know how it still is. I know how it needs to be, a whole lot of work done on it. So it's gonna be a whole lot of more contracts going out to Boardwalk Hall if we're gonna have it same way.
There will be, and you've been a constant proponent of this, and I appreciate that. Other comments from the public? Seeing none, motion to adopt? Second. Second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The next item on the agenda is something very different. It's something that's critical to the landscape of Atlantic City, and that's the Absecon Lighthouse Project. Approval of an amendment to the agreement with the Inlet Public-Private Association and a supplemental fund reservation and an amount not to exceed $100,000. Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority approving an amendment to the agreement with Inlet Public-Private Association Incorporated, doing business as the Absecon Lighthouse in furtherance of the Absecon Lighthouse Project.
Any recusals? Matt?
You know, this authority, it's a grant for $100,000 over a 3-year period. We do have someone from the Absecon Lighthouse as well. She just wanted to say a few words, and also I know she wanted to
Oh, thank you,
the
Matt. Good afternoon. This amendment to the agreement continues funding that helps with our general operating support, which enables Absecon Lighthouse, which is New Jersey's tallest and the country's 3rd tallest lighthouse, as well as the oldest structure in Atlantic City, to be open year-round for visitors to Atlantic City. It enables us to meet our full operating budget, which is approximately $261,000.
It's roughly $33,000 a year.
I'm sorry?
He was just saying that the grant works
$33,000
itself out to about $33,000 a year for your operating expenses.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's-
A little hard to hear me. $33,000 for 3 years.
Each year, right.
Right.
Thank you.
Board discussion.
Just a question, Gene. Since Hard Rock and Ocean is open, have you seen an increase in visitors?
Actually, we have not. We're down this year by 7%. It's an odd factor, but I have a couple theories about it. One is we had a really difficult weather-wise winter and spring, and that just threw us off, you know, leading up to the end of June when the 2 new casinos opened. We have this ongoing challenge with the location of the lighthouse. We're 2 blocks off the boardwalk and a block beyond the last casino. The other theory I have is that people were so excited about Hard Rock and Ocean opening that they stayed in the buildings checking everything out. So I do believe down the road we will see a residual effect. We have our rack cards in both places. We've already been the beneficiary of a $2,000 community grant from Hard Rock, so we're already starting to partner with the new casinos. So, with the resurgence of Atlantic City and everyone's eye in the future, I think we'll make that up, but right now we're a little bit behind from last year.
Other comments from board
Just
members?
put Gene a question. For members of the audience who may not be aware, but the lighthouse is on the National Register of Historic Places
Correct.
and is
In New
owned by the
Jersey.
state of New Jersey. I have a question. I do know you're trying to get some other repairs done over there. What's the status of that?
Oh, wow. That's a really significant question for the future of Epsecan Lighthouse. We recently had an architectural survey funded, which revealed that we're facing two more financial hurdles. One is an additional study that will cost $200,000 just to complete the further diagnostics of the situation. We have moisture in the tower. Actually, when General George Meade, who oversaw the construction of the tower in 1854, he also noticed there were moisture issues. They've continued during the restoration period of 1997 to 1999. Those issues were also not fully corrected. It is safe for the public, we've had that determined, but in order to really restore the lighthouse and what's happened, it was made of iron at the top. The iron is now rusting. It's pressing against the lantern glass, which is cracking, which is allowing moisture in the tower. So to fully restore it and repair it will be approximately $3 million. So our board of trustees met last week and we realized that we'll be entering into a phase of complete capital campaigning, community involvement, kind of rallying, to fully restore the lighthouse and also seeking additional grant funding through both federal and state grants.
Mr. Chairman,
Other questions for board members?
there's a little typo in the fourth whereas that we might want to address. Just a little numbers typo. Okay. In the fourth whereas.
Oh, you mean in the resolution?
Yeah.
We can take on the resolution.
No, it's ministerial.
It's minuscule, but it's not
We have it.
right.
Okay, other comments from the board? Hearing none, public comment. Mr. Chair?
To say
Is that the new map?
about our lighthouse, ladies and gentlemen, Atlantic City has a lot of historical things in it, and a lot of them are being forgotten over the years. But our lighthouse doesn't need to be forgotten, and shouldn't be forgotten, like you've done the little lighthouse out on White Horse Pike. We need to hold on to our historical things. We need to hold on to our historical things in Atlantic City. We've tore all our old hotels down for progress, and you see what it's got us? Empty lots. That's all we have now, a whole lot of empty lots. Now we need to hold on to our historical things in Atlantic City. Period, ladies and gentlemen, please. You don't need to tear it down, because that's usually your first answer. Well, we can get rid of tear it down, we have another lot. We have enough lots in Atlantic City already. Hold on to what you got. Please. The old man ain't gonna be around too long for the holler and scream at you people, but somebody needs to holler and scream at you, because that's what we need to do. Please. Hold on to what you got.
We expect you to be here forever.
Seriously, gentlemen.
Other comments for the public on the lighthouse? Seeing none, motion to adopt?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
That's for
Seeing
the Epsecan Lighthouse.
What did I say?
Yeah, that's a North Jersey, South Jersey thing. You're okay.
What did I say?
Epsecan.
I did. What are you gonna do? Thanks, Eddie.
I'm born and raised in.
All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so ordered. The next item on the agenda relates to leasing some commercial space, authorization to amend Resolution 1856, which we adopted in June of this year. And I think this is pretty significant. So Lisa, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution of the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority amending Resolution 1856 adopted June 19, 2018, which approved the negotiation and execution of a lease agreement for commercial space at the Atlantic City Convention Center.
Anybody need to be recused?
I will need to be recused on this one. The Continent 8 LLC is a licensee of the division
Right.
in good standing.
Description?
Should I leave?
No, it's fine.
Good.
Okay. Recusals for the record,
Okay.
got it.
Description, Matt?
Our Deputy Executive Director, Marshall Spivak, has been working on this since he got here. He's done an outstanding job, so I'd ask him to give a description to the board.
Thank you. The board had previously passed a resolution to negotiate a lease with Continent 8 for space to build a data center at the Atlantic City Convention Center. We're asking the board to approve an amendment to that resolution. We've actually identified a different space in the building, actually in the parking garage, a larger space, which they're going to take, be able to build a larger data center. And so this is a positive thing, I think, for the CRDA and for Continent 8 and for the city. As been noted in the press, multiple press articles since this adoption of this original resolution, Continent 8 is going to bring some technological infrastructure to the city of Atlantic City for new businesses and for businesses already existing. So CRDA will be receiving increased rent than originally anticipated in the original resolution while taking a larger space. They will also have the option to lease the original space at the market rate value, which was previously discussed in the first resolution.
And I think the rent's, what, $129,000, Manager Marshall?
126,000, a little over 126,000 with a 2% increase yearly for the term of the agreement, which is a 10-year agreement and 2 5-year extensions of that agreement.
This is good because we're using space that wouldn't be used for anything else, particularly garage space. And so that everybody understands what they do. They support online gambling, sports betting, and esports companies, which is a big deal, or becoming a big deal. And I think this is a very positive step for us in use of space. And I congratulate the staff on this. Board discussion. Public comment.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll give way to Mr. Chief.
Yeah.
You're giving away a senior?
No, he's the part of that historic. You should have had him in there as far as the historic thing. Go ahead.
Now, this space that you're renting at the convention center, what about the spaces in Boardwalk Hall itself? Do we have any space rented in Boardwalk Hall to bring you revenue? Because at one time, you know, all that boardwalk footage had stores in it. Had stores there.
Right. I'm sorry. Let me know when you're finished. I don't know.
I'm finished. I just want to know, have you thought about that?
So on the Pacific side, there's CRDA employees along with Meet AC, and Meet AC pays a rent to be there. On the Boardwalk side, there's a visitor center, there's the entrance to Boardwalk Hall, and then there is a space rented out to Starbucks. But I think your point is very well taken, and we are going to look to better utilize space and generate revenue going forward, much like with this one.
Yeah, because you built the stores next to the Boardwalk Hall there, and nobody's in those stores.
Right, that's.
We need to draw some name brands of our town. T-shirts is great, but that's all we have on the boardwalk. T-shirts. At one time, we used to have name stores on the boardwalk, all the way down, restaurants and all. Guys need to go out and sell the city. Or somebody need to go out and start selling the city on a daily basis.
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay, go ahead.
Who's next?
Yes.
Okay. To your point of the space that you're renting, and I'm sure the income is necessary, but I'm also pretty much sure, can't say that as a fact, that the per square footage that the person's paying for boardwalk space is not at boardwalk rate. Now, to my point, again, jobs and training. You got a national organization coming here, setting up shop for a specific reason. Where in any resolution, where in anything that you gave them a good rate, that you say, well, you know what? Training, and guess what? We also have skills too. It's people in this city that might have the skills that meet the jobs. They don't all have to come in from Mississippi somewhere, right here. And it should be something in every piece of thing that you put out Atlantic City first. I remember when this organization was created, and it was created for Atlantic City. And it's in Atlantic City. And it doesn't represent Atlantic City. And these are opportunities to turn this around, to make it creator accountable to the people of Atlantic City, and let's get our young people jobs and training.
Sir, and I'm sorry because we may have confused on this. It's actually not going to be at Boardwalk Hall. It's not on the boardwalk. It's in an unoccupied
I understand that,
area
sir.
of the
When you
convention
say
center.
garage, I knew that. I'm not trying to.
No, but I'm
cut you
saying-
off, but
I'm saying
I
it's-
understand.
but-
I want
but
you to
I
know
don't want you to
Atlantic
think
City.
that-
I understand where the garage. It's still space in the convention center. So it's easily identifiable address. That's the point. When you pay in real estate, you're paying for the address. Location, location. I wouldn't care if it's up on the ceiling. That's what you're paying for. And they got a good rate, it's a space that's available. But that's not my point. That it's not on the ground. You're going to pivot to something else. My point is for training and jobs. So don't pivot my conversation to something else.
Other comments from the public? Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say that, I've been here several times about the storefront bays south of Boardwalk Hall. And this would be the third summer that they've been empty. But I did notice that there was an arcade establishment, I think, in 3 of the bays. That's a start. Not really what I was looking for, but it was a start. I would really like to see some of 48 Blocks? The art or the Arts Commission that can get some artists in some of those bays. I think that would be a big plus, because if you notice, Boardwalk Hall sits in the middle of the boardwalk. People travel from Trop to Hard Rock and Ocean Resort, so we're right in the middle. So everybody passes there, and to have them empty is kind of discouraging. So if we can, really look down the line. I know they said to me, oh, it's privately owned. However, we can make some, adjustments to, how long they should be able to be there empty, and do something about it.
Ma'am, could we have your name and insert your name for the record?
Katura Jackson.
Okay.
Charles Goodman. Born, raised, and reared in Atlantic City.
No,
No, I was just letting you know that my knowledge is homegrown.
Can I add to what she said, please? Just to enlighten the room, I'm involved in the procurement of space for 48 Blocks as a volunteer. We're looking at space on the boardwalk next month for our next pop-up gallery, or next week for our next pop-up gallery.
Part of this comes with demand, too. And the demand's created when people are coming here. And businesses want to do it because they're going to make money. So it's a question of the market, too. It's not just what we can do. It's a question of what the market can do. Okay, any further public comment? Motion to adopt.
Moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. That concludes the business portion of the meeting. We'll go to the public comment section. There are a couple of comments that I would like to make at the beginning of the public session on behalf of the board, and that's to respond to some things that have been said. I want to make sure the public understands that the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority is audited annually by one of the top independent accounting firms in the nation. They do a lot of authorities. Those professional audits have resulted in unmodified clean opinions, affirming the authority's design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of financial statements. I think that's very important in terms of things that have been said or done. Secondly, the CRDA board responded to the major legislative changes of 2011, including the absorption of the Atlantic City Convention Center and Boardwalk Hall, which was a complicated process requiring the adoption of new systems which have now been implemented. The CRDA board had to again deal with legislative changes in 2016 by redirecting the authority's priorities and appropriately right-sizing and streamlining staff, creating savings and efficiencies, including the $55 million that we have given to Atlantic City to pay for their bonds. While doing so, it has maintained the investments contributing to much of the new growth in Atlantic City. Significantly, the timing of the OLS report did not allow for the inclusion of major new financial control initiatives which have been put in place. As always, as a board, we are open to suggestions that can improve our operations, and the board and management will thoroughly review the suggestion of the Office of Legislative Services and implement any appropriate changes, including better description of executive committee actions. Since 2011, all of the CRDA investments have been directed to the tourism district, and this board is fully committed to a growing collaboration with the mayor and the city. I might add, if you look to the records of the CRDA in the 27 years we've been in existence, we have put $1.9 billion into Atlantic City. So I say that so that there is some perspective about what the agency has done for the area here. Now I'll open the meeting to comments from the public.
Well,
Mr. Cheatham.
I just want to give my comments for the day. Now, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I've watched my city in its heyday, and I watched it decay, and I watched it the new birth of growth when the casino came to town. Casinos were supposed to be the answer to our city problems. Well, from what I've seen over the years, I've watched this development of this industry, I've seen all the municipalities around Atlantic City grow. All of them have grown by leaps and bounds. And I've watched our city here. We have grown by inches compared to the rest of the municipalities around us. Now, I don't know why is the cause of that. I do know why. But I also know if we don't start working together to better this city of ours, lock, stock, and barrel. That's from one end of it to the inlet. And we all need to work together on the same accord. If I own property, I'll sweep in front of my house. That's what should be done. People need to take pride in their city more than they're doing, period. Now, you might say, well, that's up to the citizen. Well, it's up to us to kind of encourage him a little bit, even if we have to push him some, to do that. Take care of your block. Take care of your front of your house. Pay attention to what goes on in your school system. All these things need to be done. But this organization here, yes, you've made mistakes. You're human beings. You're human beings. Yes, I've seen a lot of money wasted in different things. Okay? And I've seen a whole lot of growth in certain areas. And this city needs to start have some bigger ideas to draw people here. I don't care what it takes. You could have a monorail connecting Boardwalk Hall with the new convention center. You didn't do that. Now, money spent for all these other things could have done that. That would have been an attraction. You got to do things out of the way. This town used to do things out of the way. They had a flagpole sit there for I don't know how many days. You got to draw people here. Stupid as it might be, you need to start doing it. If it draws people here. Now, I don't know how long I can be around, but I don't know. I know as long as I'm going to be around, I'm going to holler and scream about things, just what I'm saying all the time, until I see some results. And when I say results, I mean on the north side, south side, east and west. We got 4 corners of a city. Let's work on them. And don't forget we can get Lucy the elephant if we push hard enough. All right, that's all I have to say.
Mr. Cheatham, I do want to mention to you that in committee session today, there was a discussion with the mayor about greater collaboration on the issues that face the city in trying to pull all elements from the county to the city to the CRDA together to look at these issues and create a set of priorities. Yes.
Excuse me, I really, since it's my first meeting here, and I was urged by people in the community to come, so what you said had merit in the way you said it, with the money spent. Okay. What was lacking was how it was spent. That's what was lacking. How it was spent and how much of what it spent went to the good of the community. So there's several layers to what you said, sir. And I understand you're trying to put a good face on that article, and I would do it if I was in your spot. But we have to accept the fact. Why can't we just, as grown, intelligent men, accept the fact, you know what? What we've done in these 27 years didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But because we here now, today forward, we can make a difference in this city. And one, I tell you, was not going to take no much money. Asphalt Atlantic Avenue and tear down some of that that looks terrible. Had people that come in town this past weekend from out of town. What? Yeah, that's a simple matter. I understand what you have to go to, planning, all of that, but it's a simple matter. That doesn't take a lot of money in terms of the monies that you're talking about. So I get what you're saying, but sir, it's a little bit more than that. And when you come in, ride through the community. And if you don't feel as though you can, I'll ride with you to give you a pass to go through the community.
No, but I do want you to understand that in the past, I have been very vocal here about the fact that we had to all work together better to get where we are, and that too many times there'd been a disconnect between the various structures, whether it be the casinos, the city, the county, CRDA, or whatever, that we have to work better together in order to accomplish the things that you want. There's a whole list of the things that we've done that's listed on the website. And if you look at some of the things, for example, in the last couple of years, the cameras on the boardwalk, the 45 special officers.
Yes, boardwalk. We don't live on the boardwalk.
Pacific Avenue being repaved. I mean, these are priorities that have come, and I understand that. And it's an issue that we've discussed with the mayor. I'm not in disagreement with what you said. Other people. Yes.
I would like to speak about a few things, and we talk about immediacy. For over a year, I have come to this room and said, open the bathrooms during hours. I have pictures here of the CRDA locking people out of the bathrooms to be able to clean them. That's not right. I was at 2 casinos today, Ocean and Resorts. I was in both bathrooms. They both had people cleaning around me. It's not that difficult. Second thing, here, pass these around, Mr. Mayor. Second thing, the TV contract on the boardwalk. They're too loud. It was first presented as a video with minor audio. It has become a blaring system. I have a picture here of a man walking by holding his ears.
I can't catch it if you throw it.
Huh?
Can't catch it if you throw it. You can hand it to me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw that to you. I meant to hand it to you. Here's the point, guys. This is the easiest thing in the world to fix, and if we can't tackle the easy things, how are we going to tackle the big things? I'm a vocal and ardent supporter of local people on this board. I've said it for years. One of the things you said, we spent $1.9 billion in this town. Your website says we spent 1.5. The community does not know where it is. No one was surprised by the F on your financials. No one who's a resident. By basically a grading, if you graded the papers, I graded an F.
Well, I certainly disagree with you.
I know you do. And I'm not here to argue. I'm just saying no one was surprised. What they were surprised by was the lack of leadership pointing direction to all the political connections. Whatever your titles are, whatever your jobs are, welcome. Make the town work. Spend the money wisely. Mr. Goodman's the guy who saved our municipal utilities authority with Carol Ruffew and Linda Silver. Isn't that who worked with you, Charlie?
You don't have to reveal to them.
But
Here's the issue with
find
the-
out.
on the volume. They're leased from the city. They control what can happen. We don't control it.
we were told it was the tourism district.
The contract is with Impactivate with, who paid for it? This agency, correct?
We pay for it.
But see, before you stand, this is where part of the problem starts.
Improvement authority.
This is where the problem starts, right? The lack of who does what causes convoluted objectivity from the public because no one really knows. For one, we were told that Impactivate actually had the contract with CRDA. Then it's this jousting. Something has to happen where the entities that come in here to do business, they know exactly where to go, and that should be established, so no one can basically point fingers. I'm personally tired, of going to community meetings where I have to actually defend certain things that I'm unaware of. The transparency of what we're talking about is making sure that when these things are done, because again, when you talk about the tourism district, and something being put in the tourism district, have people believe that the CRDA has authority over it. And then in certain cases, we have authority over it. So it leads to, again, having some clarity and direction in terms of who has what.
Mayor, we put the money up. The contract is held by, what, the ACIA and what, Paul?
And the city of Atlantic City.
The city of Atlantic City. We do not control the contract. We loan the money.
But if I could, the issue is the volume.
Right.
The issue's the volume, turn
How
it down.
about we all call whoever's turning up or down the volume and tell them to turn it down?
But here's another issue that he pointed out just now. You showed me, Harrisburg and Atlantic, I'm standing there with them, 2 trash cans. You pick up one, the city picks up the other. Scratch your heads together, like where's your common sense, guys? And if the rules don't fit the common sense, you gotta change the rules.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first I've heard of a volume issue. And I would say that before we go reacting for the first time, that we do a little investigation, find out what's going on our own.
Your representatives have been in the boardwalk committee meetings where it's been spoken to for the
Okay,
last year.
that's why if we have some investigation, we can find out what's going on and we can have an answer that's appropriate.
Just fix it, yeah.
But this is the first we're hearing of.
Thank you.
Yes, right back.
Yes, my name's Victor Jenkins. I live in the tourism district. And I'm really glad to hear someone taking an active role in cleaning up or straightening out our community. I've done that. I live on Ocean Avenue, which has been notoriously known as a bad area. It's now being cleaned up. But I've been here about 30 years. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. This is my first time coming to a meeting, but one of the things I see that really needs to be a draw here would be more family-oriented stuff. And I see that the inlet area being a really great area, a targeted area to attract things. Like one of the things I thought, and I'm surprised you don't have it here, is a major water park. Zip lining, bowling, rock climbing. These would be draws that I think that would be a win-win for the city. And if that ever comes to fruition, I'd like to be part of it. I think the city has a lot of potential, but I think that we need to really focus on family-oriented things to bring people here, especially in the slow season, the winter season. If we had something, and I wrote an article about this a long time ago, if we had a water park that would rival Maury's indoor and outdoor, you'd have people coming here during the winter and slow seasons, and that would be good for business. So I don't know if you're involved or can be involved with that kind of thing, but we need to think about that.
I think this has been a discussion that's been here. Part of our mission has been to try and bring family-oriented items here. We did at one time have a company that was interested in this, but they never came in with a firm proposal to do it. I think that we have looked at this in the past, and certainly would look upon any of these kind of ventures that will promote, other than the casinos, family entertainment. That's where we support that.
I got a hold of Great Wolf. Are you familiar with them? Yes, I am. I talked to their public relations person, and they said that they were interested in coming down here to build, but they can't compete with the casinos. The tax rate is too high. You might want to, I don't know if you can or not, but if the tax rates were a little bit more attractive, it might bring more businesses here if you lower them. Not, it's a thought.
They ain't got no control of that.
Yes, sir, in the back.
Hi, Mike Lopez, resident 9 North New Hampshire Avenue. I appreciate the meeting, everyone being here, and the fact that people, when they talked about their agenda, just didn't get up and leave when it was done. That's huge, because usually that's what I see, whether it be here or City Hall. So, as Charles said, the cleaning and whatnot, having been part of the SID for a couple of years, working out at Browns Park when it wasn't Browns Park today, picking up needles, talking to people, watching what's going on. It's a beautiful thing what those some of those workers do. It's a tough, the boardwalk's the boardwalk, and I appreciate the boardwalk, someone who's out there every day, but not only the boardwalk, and Abdullah's getting his bald head shaved, Raphael's getting a haircut, whatever it may be, talking to the people. They appreciate them coming out there and working and doing what they do. What's happening now with the revitalization is that the city, the CRDA, everyone in the county needs to work together, because I think this is our last shot, as many of us have said, to stitch ourselves into the fabric of what's going on in here. And that's everyone embracing each other, not the CRDA just embracing their projects, the city, Stockton, whatnot. It's a good time, and to work together and to communicate is what's about.
I think that I can speak for everybody on this board that there's no disagreement with that. We've always been open. We're totally open. I know that Matt's open to meet with anybody, and we have talked about some of the frustrations, even with some of the social services, and trying to get them all together so that there can be progress. Sometimes it gets frustrating, but I want everybody to understand that every commissioner on this board feels an obligation to try and work together for the betterment of the things that in Atlantic City. Now, we can make mistakes, and we do, because we're all human. And we have to deal with the issues that are brought before us, too, and make decisions on them. And we will do that in our judgment, but I know that I speak for everybody here. The more collaboration we can have, the better that we can work together is what needs to be done. And I can say that from some experience, because in 1979, I happened to be Chief of Staff to Brendan Byrne when resorts opened. And one of the things that we have talked about is that the entities in this city, when everybody was making money, didn't get together and do the things that the money at that time would have provided. So now when the downturn came, we all faced restructuring issues and made it more difficult. But that's not the answer. Our answer is that for the resources that we have, we need to work together. We want to work together. We're open. We'll listen. We don't have any problems. Howard?
I just want to add to what you're saying, Mr. Chairman, and to address the issue was raised by Mr. Cheatham also, and that I want to stress that we are working together. And I need to point to something. On Thursday, there's going to be a ribbon cutting at the Stockton project. Right. That Stockton project occurred because 2 years ago, the county, the city, the CRDA, the ACIA, South Jersey Gas, AC Devco all got together, pooled their resources to make that happen, and made it happen in a very short period of time. So the precedent has been established for this. And I know from the committee discussions that we have had here, you're going to see more of that, because quite frankly, the revitalization of Atlantic City and this area cannot be the responsibility of one entity and one entity only. It doesn't work that way anymore. We're in a different era, especially now since a lot of CRDA funds are going over to the city for debt service. So the only way things are going to get done is through that degree of cooperation. And I think we started a precedent, and we'll continue with that.
I agree with that too. When it was its tops, as he said, Chairman, it was 21.6 billion back then, but that was then. Right. So this is now, and with the report is the report, but with the new leadership, I have the utmost confidence that it'll be broad transparency and whatnot. So moving forward, I just say we all embrace each other and work this thing.
I think I've laid out how we as a board feel and our commitment to do the right thing and to work together to accomplish what we need to do. Other comments from the public? Yes, sir, in the back.
So currently your parking revenue bonds are rated BA3 with a negative outlook, and the IIT tax revenue stream will soon be expiring. Does the board have any concerns to future market access and how that loss of revenue could be mitigated, or is there just to be a reliance on the debt service reserve fund?
Let me say two things. One is we have had great concerns when we had to give up the $24 million a year. It caused us to restructure, and we've looked at where the money is and how we have to apportion it out to meet our obligations. We're very much aware of it. Kathy, is there anything you want to say on this?
For this, I'm not sure exactly what your question was. Was it for the parking revenue in the future for the debt service?
Correct.
Well,
so as the IIT revenue
right,
stream
the IIT
runs
revenues
out,
drop off.
and a BA3 negative outlook in your weakest debt.
It's a stable outlook, I believe.
I believe it was negative, but
well,
the outlook may change. But
and anyway,
as those revenues expire,
if you also look at it in 2020, the debt service goes down substantially, and at that point, the debt service should be well more than covered at that point, because we do have, again, a resurgence in Atlantic City with Hard Rock coming on and some of the other properties, and parking revenue last month has been looking pretty positive. But again, debt service comes down substantially in 2020 and should help in that matter.
Sir, could we have your name?
Andrew Fluger.
Did you?
Andrew Fluker.
Okay, Andrew.
And Chairman, if you don't mind, Andrew, it sounds like you actually have a pretty good idea about this. So if you'd like to, I'd love to, get together with you and talk about it, because it sounds like you're pretty up to date on it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
See, John, first of all, I want to say I've been coming here since, and I have documentation that even proves that, since 1991. That's before most of you were even thought of being on the board. And almost as probably as long as Mr. Cheatham's been coming here. But I say that to say the inclusion of Atlantic City first is very, very important moving forward. And it's very important that, we have our mayor here, but the rest of the board do not reflect the rest of our community. It's very important that we be included as residents with what's going on, because all these years, and I do believe, you say about $1 billion spent in Atlantic City, but I do believe over $5 billion been spent throughout the state. That's a lot of money. And it's not the fault of most of the commissioners. What we find out is through legislation that's been amended, entrenched, that dictates what you guys, how you spend the money.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So I think we need to talk about that, and we need to talk about the leadership, that every 4 years and every 8 years, that another board and have to start all over again. It's very important when it comes to the residents that live here and the small businesses that's been suffering and been here these years to say, look, we're still here. And we've seen a lot come and go. So legislation plays a major role in how money's being spent. I don't think the article basically said that or stated that, but it needs to say, when governors come and go, so do some of the board members, and so do some of the officers that goes with the spending of these dollars that's supposed to be spent for social issues. Look at the social issues we have in Atlantic City for years. Economic issues, how do we get in the shape we in? Housing issues, look at the dilapidated and the abandoned houses that we have. We have some issues, but this board is part of that commitment from the state and from the government to make sure that we get rid of that. And I think it's very important that the residents, again, be part of the inclusion of what's going on with this board going forward. And I don't fault none of you here, because again, since 1991, to be coming to this board and say the same thing over and over again, I think it's very consistent. We're going to continue to be here. Even after Mr. Cheatham, you will have that voice from Mr. Young. So I just want to say to all of you, you know, we look forward to working together, moving forward, and thank you very much.
I appreciate the comments, and I was very serious when I talked about discussions among the board members who really understand what we have to do and make the effort for the betterment of the city. That's all we have in mind. That's one of the reasons when we sat down and cut out spending any money elsewhere in the state, that the money had to come into Atlantic City, and that was part of the legislation that went through when I sat on the commission to do that. Yes, sir.
I sit on community, state, regional, and national boards of directors for different things. One of the things we utilize is a community advisory board, and it may be time to institute one for the CRDA to at least be able to advise the community feedback before and as things are evolving.
Good point.
You know, we have been open to any of the community people that want to come in and talk to us. And it's an open invitation, and I can say that, and I know that
An
Matt,
open channel may be better than you've been gracious. An open channel of communication may be better than an open office door at times.
right, okay. Other comments from the public? I want to thank all of you for your comments today. I think it's important that we all understand the seriousness of the situation and the seriousness of your comments. And I don't take any of it lightly, and none of the commissioners here take any of it lightly. I think we all recognize that we're in another phase of Atlantic City. Now, we've had some success with Stockton and with the market rate housing that's getting done, and Ocean and Hard Rock. But there are other things that need to be done, and they really relate to the people of Atlantic City. And we understand that. I think that we've done a couple of things that are important with apprentice programs that we funded. I think that all of us here understand what our relationship is. I know Rob Long, who's now the Deputy Commissioner for DCA, is here for Atlantic City. And we've had discussions about that. I think you're going to see things come out with plans for Atlantic City in the next couple of days. People have been giving great thought to where we have to go. And I think you'll see this demonstrated as things come out over the next period of time. Rob, am I wrong?
I believe this Thursday.
I think you have somebody here. You want to introduce him?
He wasn't sure he wanted to be introduced, but it's too late now. Chikozie Onyema, he is DCA's Director of Policy and Regulation. He came.
Good Welcome.
Everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Listening to the discussion.
Absolutely.
I think it's very important. Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I accept the motion.
Motion, Chairman.
Yes.
Now, I'm sitting here listening to all these discussions and all these different people saying this and that. And I'm still hoping that I'll see some of these things materialize. I'm hoping I see some of these things materialize. I've said to our mayor from the get-go, we need to work together, and he needs to pay attention to who's around him all the time. Because we've got to have everybody working on the same accord. Now, I don't mean people working in your committee and they working on another agenda for themselves. Everybody needs to work on one agenda to get Atlantic City back in shape, period. If that's not on the agenda, then they have to go. As simple as that. We have to have everybody working together.
Any other comments from the public? Hearing none, I'll accept the motion to close the public portion of the meeting. It's been moved. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
There will be no executive session today.